Hello everybody! Welcome to Agashi Review, where I review movies, dramas that you don't want to waste your time watching. I'll give you a synopsis, shorts review, along with my thoughts and opinions. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Now let's go into the review. Hello everybody, Agashi here. So how are you guys doing or thinking of the drama Love Like a Galaxy? I'm loving it so much. The drama is so amazing. I was iffy at first and like whether I want to watch or not, but I got hooked on after the first 4 episodes, and as you guys could tell, I liked it so much. I did a part 1 review, a part 2, and now the ending. So today I'm just gonna go over from where I left you guys off, which was episode 37 and going all the way to the ending of 56. I know for the people who got the premium to see it, you actually got to see everything, and so I waited for it to be finished and everything, and I can actually watch it. So now I'm gonna be going over it with you guys and sharing my thoughts and actually give you guys a recap about it. I got a lot of comments from you guys, and a lot of you guys really like it, and you know, for me too, I really like it. So I wanted to share you guys like just the ending of it and just, you know, go over it and a lot of things and sharing some favorite scenes and or you know, some stuff and life lesson learning and stuff like that from it. So I left you guys off at 36, so I'm gonna jump to 37. So this is after the 5th princess pushed Xiaoshang into the lake. She cries to Lin Buyi about it, and the princess still humiliate her at the empress birthday banquet, and Xiaoshan was like, she went and set up traps to you know, pretty much set score even with the fifth princess. And this brings out the truth that she never told Buyi about, that they pushed her into the water, they threw rocks at her, and they released snakes to bite her. And so it really showed how much he cared for her and like everything that he's willing to do for her. So this is pretty much like their first like big argument, and he tells her that she doesn't trust him even though he wants to protect her. He goes and punishes all the people who were involved in this to torture or, you know, did this to his fiance, and in return the emperor punishes him with 100 flogging, and so he accepts the punishment. And it's all fake-ish kind of way to prove to Xiaoshang that she needs to learn to listen to her future husband, and also is to prove to her that Buyi loves her and he cares for her. And like pretty much after this they reconcile and they move on, you know, to working on things. And then the next case they take on is pretty much the crown prince previous lover, his past lover that he never married, Chu Jinglun. And so there's news that she murdered her own husband, and the crown prince is involved in it. We learned that throughout the years of him married to the crown princess has been sending gifts on behalf of his name to his past lover in a way to use it. She created this to use it against the crown prince that he never loved her. So after Buyi and Xiaoshang solves the murder case, which they figured out when Xiaoshang ends up becoming the hostage, and he ends up Buyi ends up saving her. They solve it all, clear the crown prince's name, and the crown princess, she just kind of like, I don't want anything to do with it anymore. She stepped down her position, and they get divorced. And we get to kind of see Yunshan comes in here of how much like he still loves, and he really loves and cares for Xiaoshan. So in like episode 41, Peng Huang appears as someone who was a part of the betrayal invasion back in the Ghoul City that caused the whole Huang clan to fall. Buyi cannot sit still, and he wants to like go find this guy and get his revenge and everything. The emperor's like refuses to let him go because he's like, your wedding is right around the corner, there's a lot of preparation, but he's like, you know, I gotta go. Xiaoshan puts in good words, and Buyi is going off to Shuchong to capture Peng Huang, and before he goes, Xiaoshan makes an armor for him, which everybody says is chicken wings, but to her it's the Mandarin duck's wings or something like that. And she also makes him a protection shield vest to wear underneath his cloth. It's kind of like the old version before bullet vest was improved in that time period. And so he before he goes, he also shows her the land that was gifted to them from the emperor as a wedding gift, that they're going to build their house there away from the capital, where she can be doing her engineering stuff that she loves building, as she always dreamed of. And it's near his base where he can actually train his team, and it's the life for them. She's happy and tells him to hurry up and go do what he has to do, come back, and they will get married, and she'll be waiting for him. They will never be an unhappy couple like his parents. He makes a comment to her, which it confuses you here because of the biggest plot twist at the end. He tells her, my parents weren't a happy couple, meaning his parents were happily married. So I will get to that eventually. A big spoiler right there for you guys. But he goes off to Shochuan, and her father goes with him to battle too. News comes back that her father betrayed the emperor and the team, and he stole like 2,000 silver money or something like that. Her family goes into prison until her father is found, or pretty much into, you know, this is the end of it for her family, since she's engaged to Buyi. And before leaving, he gave her his family like stone seal, meaning she's a Ling now, she's a part of his family, so she doesn't go to prison. She's the only one remaining alive, and the emperor pretty much saved her. And so she secretly sets off to go prove her father's innocence. So in episode 43, learning from the Cheng family that about the Cheng family, Buyi hurries up and catches Peng Huang and goes and fights Xiao Shang, because he knows that she won't sit still and wait for him or wait for anything. So remembering back in episode 28, when Wang Ling, her mother, forces her to get married to Peng Huang, well, apparently she's appears again, and it's wife. Like, you kind of like, it didn't really trigger to you like, oh, who is she getting married to? They mentioned it. Well, there you go, hint to us. This is it. So she's his wife, and Buyi comes to take the husband, Peng Huang, and he captured Peng Huang and sets off to Tong Yuan's country, or the town, to save Xiao Shan. They find each other and start to solve the case, what happened to her father. It involves the Yao family, and the Lu family is, oh no, not Yao. I'm sorry, I'm like thinking wrong. It involves Yao's family, and so his last name is Lu. There you go, the Lu family. So his older brother Lu Bin is involved in it, and then Xiao Shan does find out that her Lu Bin took her father in, made some up lies and everything like that. Lu Bin commits suicide and kill himself. She gets a couple hints, finds her father, and they're back home. And then when she comes back home, she goes with Buyi to go visit his mom, and she learns from General Chuyu, something like that, who helps take care of Buyi's mom, that he had a cousin, Aling and Achen. They were almost like twins back then. Aling is Lin Buyi, who was Lin Ying's son, who was super active, playful, while there's Huang Wushang, who was Chen, who was General Huang Chao's son, who was very quiet and reasonable. He tells her that their roles are so different, they're so opposites from each other, but like both boys love to play tricks on their parents by always swapping places. And he spills that out, and he spills a lot more, that Ali loves almond, but Azi is allergic to almonds. Buyi ends up eating almond cakes made by his mother, and he broke out into rashes. We learned he is not Lin Buyi. He is Huang Wusheng. He is General Huang Chou's son. He's been faking all along being Li Ying's son and trying to get revenge on his family, the Huang clan. So remember in episode 30, around the 30s right there, where during General Huang's death memorial, and Shang Shang stated about how he resembles General Buyi, resembles General Huang so much when it's his uncle. Plus in episode 23, when this other general found Buyi, he goes, "I'm so sorry for being 10 years late." So, and also when he stated to Xiao Shang that my parents was not a happy couple. His parents was very, very happily married. So in episode 47, the wedding is around the corner. Li Yi's 50th birthday is also coming up. Many things are happening. Xiaoshang's already pieced everything together, and all she needed was Bui to be honest with her of who he is and everything he's been trying to do all along. Every time he brings up the courage to tell her, they get interrupted, and he just chooses not to tell her. His mother passes away, and in front of her death memorial, Xiaoshang and Bui bites each other's arm as in bond of becoming husband and wife before they get married, like pretty much, you know, and stuff like that. And so in the next episode 48, Bui goes and kills Li Ying and reveals out that he is Huang Wusheng, not Lin Buyin. He's been waiting all his life to do this because he witnessed Li Ying killed his father. Xiaoshang and her family comes to rescue him from his wrongdoing, and they end up helping him. But he ends up telling Xiaoshang that he is not going to drag her and her family into this, and he pushed himself off the cliff. All of this, and no one goes and save him. Like, they're just like, oh, he could just die. You know, he created a lot of like bad things, you know. So, and plus they believe that he's dead already. Xiaoshang is torn apart, fallen sick. Third prince comes and tells her that we need to solve this case to prove that Bui is innocent, that he was trying to solve the Gu City case all along, and he is Huo Wushang. This brings us back to episode 22 when she went off to, you know, she was wandering off, and she kind of like overheard some conversation where she broke her her little leg pendant. Bui saves her, and they almost fall off the building. Her jade plate that fell off, broke, he kept it, and he told her that one of the pieces fell off, and he'll keep the other piece so that they cannot identify her because it has her name on there, Now. Well, he found both, and he's been keeping it all along, and it was apparently during that time the people we hear talking was the third prince and his uncle about trying to overthrow the crown prince, the current crown prince. Third prince is obviously a better fitted for the crown prince title, and in the novel he does become the crown prince, which at the end of the drama he is the crown prince too. So spoiler to you guys though, the current crown prince, he does get thrown off because he's too flickery and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's always following everybody's like decision for him, so it's really bad. While the third prince, he's more like, you know, okay, this and this, and he knows what's right and wrong. He's really good, and he looks at everything before he makes his decision. So anyways, Xiaoshang reveals a lot about Bui, including his birthmark, that is a small tiger head with 3 ears. The emperor is torn when he's like, oh my god, he is Huo Wushang. He sends people to rescue Bui at the because he is the only last heir left of the Huang clan. Bui is hanging on the cliff for 2 days thanks to the Xiaoshang string that he's been keeping all along on his wrist. It saves him. He's rescued and trying to get cured, but he loves Xiaoshang so much and he regretted his wrongdoing. He's afraid of losing her. He gripped onto the Xiaoshang string so tight on his wrist, he refused to let it go. And this part, like in his unconscious state, and this part she plays the flute to bring him back. It was so beautiful. The scene was so beautiful. When I was watching it, I was just like on a big screen. I was just like, oh my god, I felt it too. Oh, it's like when the scenes they flash back and she's like, Ling Bui, like come back to me, and it reversed, like he came back to her, so it brought him back to life. So he's saved, and pretty much he revealed everything on what happened in the Gu City. His father died, and he was the last one surviving with his aunt, who they've been hiding for days, and so that to make sure nobody would come and kill them. After a year to make sure of their safety, his aunt brings him back, pretty much gives him a signal hint saying that if you revealed out that you're Huo Wushang, we're dead. Okay, we cannot prove anything. In order to protect you, you need to tell the emperor that you are Lin Buyin to survive and seek revenge. So that's where it all starts. When the emperor asks, what is your name, my child? He goes, Lin Buyin. And so that's what he did as a kid. So all along, he is not Lin Buyin. That's why he hates Li Ying so much. And people just not understand, how can he hate his father so much? But after all is forgiven, Xiaoshang breaks off the engagement and Bui lets her go. He sets off to the northwest to guard the borders, and he asks to see her one last time, but she tells her brother to return the Bui's family stone stamp, whatever, stuff like that. And so it pretty much is over between them. Bu Yi leaves. Xiaoshan goes back to living in the Chengchu palace and never leaving. Her mother figures out that she's not going back to take care of the empress. She's going back to an empty palace to lock herself because of her broken heart. This scene was so beautifully done by her mother. Her mother realized that it is too late and she needs to stop her daughter, but she didn't. And she's yelling across the palace gate that she's sorry for not being a good mother and she left her daughter behind when she should have just screw what the grandma said about the bad things and just take her daughter with her too, and her daughter would never be like this, you know. It was such a sad scene. Honestly, I was crying with like how the mom was just crying, like, oh my gosh, she was just like, no, Amu is sorry, you know, stuff like that. So 5 years passed, so much has happened. Xiaoshan locked herself in the palace, just waiting for her day to come, pretty much. Bu Yi keeps his name, so he's now Huang Bu Yi, and he's been fighting for the past 5 years non-stop, regretting his mistake missing Xiaoshan. When Xiaoshan decides to get engaged to Yunshan, Bu Yi returns and she couldn't do it. She could not let him go, so she said she turned down Yunshan. So the empress is getting more and more sick now and she's about to pass away. So in episode 53, before she passes away, she tells Bu Yi that Xiaoshan loves him so much. She still loves him. She's been miserable for the past 5 years, basically waiting for them, you know, for him. After she passes away, things gets worse for Xiaoshan. She's no longer herself. She feels like she has no purpose and to be living in the palace anymore. She moves back to live with her family. Her parents does try to line up the mood and try to become parents that they were never parents to her. So, you know, pretty much apologizing nonstop, but she's like, you know, it's okay, you guys are my parents, I'm gonna be here, don't worry, you know. Her parents does end up yelling at Huang Bu Yi, telling him all his wrongdoing that has turned Xiaoshan like this. He apologized and he tells her he does not know what to do. He regrets it every day that he did not marry her and he chose his revenge over her when he should have never had, when he loved her so much. Pretty much the mom say, well, now it's up to fate if you guys are meant to be together. So in episode 55, Wang Yanji, which is Lu Bin's wife, that he killed himself and left her behind, she is now seeking revenge for it, and she captures Xiaoshan and Ayao's wife, and then she traps them, and Bu Yi and his team comes and save them. The door is closing and Wang Jian holds on to him so that Bu Yi so he can't escape. He tells Achi to close the door and take Xiaoshan away because she set everything on fire and it's gonna explode. And so you know, Achi takes her away and closed the door and everything exploded, and Xiaoshan is crying, saying that he's forgiven. You know, he promised that he was never gonna leave her again. Why is he doing this? He does escape and come back, and they make up and they go and kill Tian Xuan, who is after the crown prince. And pretty much Tian Xuan was like, you know, everything that ties with the Gu city back then, the betrayal and everything. So both of them split here, and Bu Yi goes to save the crown prince. They tell each other, from now on, we gotta trust each other. We gotta do this. We're in this together. The world is the #1 thing for them, priority. They're gonna fight together side by side, going to do all this. So Bu Yi does save the crown prince. Xiaoshan saves the Gu village, and both of them battling, trusting each other, and afterwards everything is fine. And they promise that they're gonna get married and they're gonna go save the world together, and she's gonna be with him side by side because that's all he does and that's all she wants to her, because she's so different from every other girl, because that's how she was raised up, you know. But that ends it for us there, and it's honestly, I'm very satisfied. I'm very satisfied with the ending. I'm very satisfied with everything. According to the novel, they do get married. It does go deeper into it, where they get married, they move on to the west to do all their things, you know, pretty much like how he got his land and he was gonna go live there, and Yushan is still missing her, and here and there they still come visit the emperor and her family, and Yushan misses her, but she's kind of like, you know, I got my life, I'm happy, you know. So it's that. But I love it so much that a lot of the things, you know, like especially stuff between her and her mother is so great. And like as a mother, like her mother was never there for her, but even when her mother came back, her mother didn't try to bond with her. Her mother was always blaming her. Her mother was always saying that she was nothing compared to Yang Yang, and so it really broke her heart. And that when she started to drift onto the empress side, because the empress loved her and treated treated her as if she was the empress's daughter. It really broke her mother's heart, you know, like on getting her ready for her wedding, and her mom's all like, you know, like we prepare you a dress and everything. She goes, oh, you know, I'm old, don't worry, the empress already prepared everything for me. I got a dress, I got jewelry and everything. And the mom's like, oh, it's okay. It's like, as your daughter, you should be able to prepare that for her. But because her mom was never there for her, like obviously she didn't seek out for her mother to do that for her, and someone else did, and she, instead of turning it down, she was like, oh, you know, she took it because her mother never did anything that for her. Kind of reflect back when they were doing, they went to the lantern festival, and her mom didn't like try hairpins on her, and her mom tried it on her on Yang Yang said, her cousin, and she was really sad because she wanted that, and her aunt was the only one who was like, do you like this, you know, it's so pretty, let me get you one, you know. So it's the relationship between her and her mom, like it really like hit me, it broke my heart. Like it just makes you go, you know, me as a mom, like, oh my god, I'm a boy, but it's like, you shouldn't do that to your kid, you know. It just breaks your heart. But and then like obviously the relationship between her and Bui, like it is so well done between the two of them. Their arguments, them getting together, them seeing things differently or supporting each other, it was so great. And like obviously, you know, he's been hiding all of his revenge for so long, so he did not know how he was going to approach this for her, how he was going to tell her. And so he was really like, you know, like as much as he wants to tell her, it makes him go, he shouldn't involve her. But then obviously, you know, his regret made him go, you know, I should have just let this go and consult with her, and she would have been able to help me ease my pain, you know. So they did really well together, a lot of things. And obviously favorite scenes, you know, I loved it when they pushed her into the pool, the lake, and the scene afterwards she's crying and he's trying to console her, but he doesn't know how to, you know, and she's just like crying. It's so well done between them. And also when obviously the argument every argument they have is pretty much about trusting each other, and it's very true of how like couples, like you should communicate, you should trust each other, but a lot of the times that slipped out of your mind, you know, and you're like, I can do this without your help. And a lot of the time Xiao is always like, you know, I can do this without him, I don't want to use his power, I want to show the world that I'm powerful too, I don't live off of his name, you know. So it's always like that. And eventually they learn that they don't need any of that, and they're just made for each other, and they accept each other's flaw, and you know, whatever we go through, we're gonna tell each other, and you know, we set what is our priority, what are our similarities we share, and let's do that, and accept each other's difference. So it was really good. But I have so many favorite scenes of it. I just love it. Nowadays I still watch some of their favorite scenes on YouTube, and I'm just like enjoying it, and it makes me go like I went back and like rewatched the episode when he first proposed to her, and like you could see the difference in character, like how she was still very young, because it's obviously 5 years has passed. She's already in her 20s, you know. During that time she's only like 15, 16. She was still childish and she didn't know anything, and he was just like, you're the perfect wife for me, you know. And then how like the transition shifts over where she grows up, she's in the palace, she's learning to be a lady, she's learning a lot of things, you know. She's so amazing. But I can go on and on about this drama, but it was amazing. I loved it. There's so much that happened, and I spoiled so much for you guys. If you guys have not seen it, do go check it out. I get it, it's 56 episodes, but it is all worth it. All worth it. Watch every bit and piece of it so you understand everything. And there was the biggest plot twist ever, which I look at it, I'm like, they did not waste time of doing that plot twist for us. So it was actually really good. And you know, as they went through, you really like, oh my god, he's not even Li Buyin, he's Huang Wushang, whatever. But so far it was so good. I know I blabbered on for so long, but go check it out if you guys have not. But that is the ending of Love Like a Galaxy, and I hope I have another good drama like this that come up. I cannot wait. But that's it for today's drama review, and I will see you guys next time.